Let me tell you about the moment most men lose the woman they actually wanted. It isn't a dramatic fight. It isn't a rival who shows up and sweeps her away. It isn't even a wrong word said at the wrong time. It's a moment of stillness, a suspended electric second where everything between two people is leaning forward, where her whole body is saying yes in a language older than spoken words. And he doesn't move. He waits. He second guesses. He talks himself out of the most important step he could have taken, and she feels it, that hesitation, that pulling back, and something in her, something that was wide open just a breath ago, quietly closes, not dramatically, not permanently, always. But something shifts, the moment passes, and those moments, once past, have a way of not returning in quite the same form. Today we are talking about the hand signals, the specific psychologically revealing things a woman does with her hands when she is ready, when the moment is real. See? When hesitation is the only thing standing between you and something that could change everything. This is not about manipulation. This is about finally learning to read a language that has been spoken to you your whole life and giving yourself permission to respond. I want to speak to something specific that a lot of men carry quietly, the regret of the missed moment. Not the dramatic missed moments. Those are easier to process because at least something happened. I'm talking about the quiet ones, the ones where you were sitting close to someone, where the conversation had dropped into that rare register where everything else disappears, where she was there with you completely, and you felt the pull, but you didn't follow it. Maybe you told yourself you weren't sure. Maybe you were afraid of being wrong, of making it awkward, of damaging something that already felt precious. Maybe you simply froze, caught between wanting and not knowing, between feeling everything and being certain of nothing. And then the moment ended, and she became someone you see occasionally and feel a specific, untranslatable ache around. The ache of something that almost was. That ache is what this video is about preventing, not through aggression or pushiness or manufactured confidence, through understanding, through finally learning what her body has been trying to tell you so that the next time the moment comes, you are present enough and fluent enough to meet it. Before we get into specific signals, you need to understand why the hands matter so much, because the science behind it reframes everything. The human hand contains more nerve endings per square inch than almost any other part of the body. It is the primary instrument through which we interact with the physical world and, significantly, through which we reach toward the people we want to be close to. Neuroscientists who study nonverbal communication consistently identify the hands as one of the least consciously controlled areas of the body during emotional states. When a person is genuinely experiencing attraction, anxiety, desire, or connection, their hands respond before their conscious mind has approved the response. The hands leak emotional truth in ways that the face, trained by years of social performance, often doesn't. This means that what she does with her hands in your presence is less filtered, less performed, and more real than almost any other signal you could observe. Her words can be chosen, her smile can be calibrated, but her hands, the way they move toward you, the way they touch her own body, the way they reach across the space between you, those come from somewhere deeper than social management. Once you understand how to read them, you are reading something genuinely true. Let's start with the most direct signal and the one most commonly rationalized away. She reaches toward you, not to hand you something, not to point at something across the room. She reaches toward you, toward your arm, your hand, your shoulder, in a gesture that has no practical justification. It exists only to close distance, only to make contact, only to say, with the most honest part of her body, I want to be closer to you than I currently am. This reach can be brief. A touch on your forearm that lasts 2 seconds. A hand on your knee that lifts away almost immediately. a brush of fingers that could theoretically be classified as accidental if you were committed to not seeing it. But here's what psychology tells us: the human hand does not reach toward people it is indifferent to. The motor impulse to close physical distance with another person originates in emotional desire, in the limbic system, not the prefrontal cortex. She is not calculating that reach, she is feeling it. When her hand moves toward you without a practical reason, recognize it. Don't rationalize it into coincidence. Her body just told you something her voice hasn't said yet. This signal is more internal than the last one, but it's arguably more revealing. When a woman is in a heightened state of attraction, her nervous system activates in ways that produce involuntary self-soothing behaviors. She touches her own face. She runs her fingers along her collarbone or neck. She traces the edge of her jaw lightly. She brings her fingers to her lips, briefly, almost imperceptibly. These are not vanity gestures. They are nervous system responses to emotional intensity. The same neurological pathway that produces this self-touching response in moments of attraction also produces it in moments of acute anxiety. Because physiologically, excitement and anxiety are the same activation state, interpreted differently by the conscious mind. When she is touching her own face and neck while looking at you, while laughing with you, while leaning into a conversation with you, her body is managing an intensity of feeling that it cannot contain quietly. It is doing something with the energy because the energy has nowhere else to go yet. That energy needs somewhere to go, and the direction it wants to go, the direction her nervous system is already pointed, is toward you. Here's one that requires you to observe pace rather than direction, and it's one of the most elegant signals in the entire vocabulary of nonverbal attraction. Watch how she moves her hands in normal conversation. She's expressive, probably, gesturing naturally, moving at the rhythm of her own energy and personality. Now watch what happens when the conversation drops into a more intimate register, when something real passes between you, when the moment begins to charge. Her hand movements slow down. They become more deliberate, more conscious. The unconscious, animated gesturing of normal conversation gives way to something quieter, more intentional. She might pick up an object on the table and turn it slowly in her fingers. She might reach up and adjust something about her hair or clothing with a slowness that wasn't there before. She might rest her hand somewhere and let it stay instead of moving with her words. This deceleration is her body entering a different mode. The busy, social performance energy of normal interaction has given way to something more present, more physical, more here. She is becoming aware of the space between you, and her slowing hands are the outward sign of an inward focus that is turning increasingly toward you. This one is so subtle that most men walk away from it entirely confused about what just happened. But once you understand it, you'll never miss it again. She picks up your phone from the table. She adjusts something on your sleeve. She takes the pen from your hand to write something, and the exchange lasts slightly longer than it needs to. She moves a strand of something off your jacket. She hands you a drink, and the handoff is slow, and her fingers stay in contact with yours for just a beat beyond the necessary moment. What she is doing psychologically is using an object or a practical pretext to achieve physical contact with you that she isn't quite ready to initiate directly. The object becomes a bridge, a socially acceptable reason to touch the thing she actually wants to touch. This is a profound signal because it reveals something important. She wants to make contact, but something is holding her back from doing it without a reason. That something is usually uncertainty about how you'll receive it. She's testing the temperature. She's seeing if you'll meet her in the contact or pull back from it. When she creates these object bridges, receive them. Don't pull away. Don't let the moment pass as if nothing happened. Let your hand stay a half second longer than necessary in return. Let your fingers acknowledge hers. You don't have to say anything. You just have to be present enough to register that something just happened between you. Human beings instinctively protect their vulnerable areas, the throat, the chest, the abdomen, when they feel unsafe or exposed. This is a survival reflex so old it predates language. But here's the fascinating inversion. In moments of positive vulnerability, in moments of attraction, of emotional openness, of genuine desire, people also touch these areas, not to protect from a threat, but as a physical expression of the emotional openness they're experiencing. When she brings her hand to her chest while laughing at something you said, when she holds her own hand briefly near her heart while telling you something real, when she touches her throat during a moment of genuine connection, these are physical expressions of emotional vulnerability. Her body is marking the places that feel open right now, the places that are responding. Watch for this, especially in moments after something emotionally genuine has been said, after laughter that was real, not performed, after a moment of shared understanding where you both felt something click. Her hand moving to her chest or throat in those moments is her body acknowledging, in its oldest, most honest language, that something just reached her, something you just reached. This signal combines touch and proximity into one unmistakable gesture, and it is about as clear as nonverbal communication gets. She leans toward you, and the lean is supported or initiated by her hand. She puts her hand on the surface between you and leans on it, which brings her closer to you than she was. She rests her hand on your side of the shared space, on your armrest, on your side of the table, at the edge of your personal territory, and stays there. She is, with her body, practicing being nearer to you. This gesture also does something important spatially. It reduces the physical gap between you to the point where the next logical movement, the one that closes the remaining distance entirely, becomes almost geometrically inevitable. She has, in effect, done most of the work. She has moved as far as she can without that final step being taken. The final step is yours. When her hand is resting in your space, when her body is leaning across the distance toward you, when everything is pointed in one direction, that is not a coincidence of posture. That is an invitation, the most honest kind, the kind the body makes because the heart has already decided. This might be the most powerful signal on this entire list, and it is paradoxically defined by an absence rather than a presence. She goes still. The animated, expressive hands that were moving through the conversation a moment ago have quieted. She is not fidgeting. She is not gesturing. She is not self-soothing or playing with something in her fingers. She has simply, completely gone still, and she is looking at you. In human nonverbal communication, stillness is the body's way of paying total attention. We go still when something genuinely important is happening, when our entire system is focused on a single point, when we are, without reservation, present. When she goes still in your presence, when the usual social animation falls away, and she is simply there, looking at you, not moving, not managing, not performing. She is in the moment completely. She is waiting in the most open way a person can wait. She is ready. That stillness is not absence. It is the fullest kind of presence. And if you have ever wondered what the moment before a kiss actually looks like, this is it. Not always, not exclusively, but often enough that when you feel it, when you see it, when the world suddenly narrows to just the two of you, and she has gone quiet and still and close, trust what you're feeling. That is not your imagination. That is the moment. Let's talk about the hesitation, because understanding what it communicates to her might be the most important piece of everything we've covered. When the moment is clearly there, when her signals are present, when the atmosphere has shifted, when her body is pointing toward you in every way described above, and you don't move, she doesn't experience your stillness as neutrality. She experiences it as rejection. not necessarily conscious, dramatic rejection. But her nervous system, which has been tracking your responses to her signals throughout the entire interaction, registers the non response as he doesn't want to, or worse, he doesn't want me enough to risk it. And the thing about attraction, the thing that makes these moments so particular and so irreplaceable, is that it exists in a window, not forever, not indefinitely. The window opens when the conditions are right, when trust has been built, when safety is present, and desire is running beneath the surface of everything. But the window requires a response. It requires someone to move. And if that movement doesn't come, if the moment simply sits there, unchosen, the window doesn't stay open out of patience. It closes, not always permanently, but closed enough that the same precise quality of that moment is gone. Your hesitation is not caution, it is not respect. From where she's standing, from inside that open moment, it looks and feels like indifference. Move gently, intentionally, but move. Let's end the development section here, practically, honestly, and with the respect this topic deserves. Moving in the moment doesn't mean being aggressive. It doesn't mean removing her agency. It doesn't mean ignoring the possibility that you've misread something, because misreads happen and they're handled with grace, not drama. It means becoming present enough to say, with your body, with your closeness, with the quality of your attention, that you are here, you feel this, and you are choosing to acknowledge it. Lean in slowly. Give her the space and the time to meet you or to redirect. True attraction is mutual, and a moment that is genuinely right will be met, not endured. She will close the remaining distance. She will tilt toward you. She will stay still in that beautiful, charged way that means everything is yes. And if she redirects, if she moves slightly, or smiles in a way that says not yet, receive that with the same steadiness you'd receive the yes. Because respect in that moment, warmth in that moment, the lack of hurt or pressure in that moment, that often matters more than the kiss itself. That is what tells her she can trust you with the real moment when it comes. But when everything is aligned, when her hands have told you what you now know how to hear, don't make her wait alone in that open space. Be there, be present, be brave enough to meet her. Here's the truth underneath everything we talked about today. The missed moment is not really about a kiss. It's about a pattern, the pattern of being present in your life versus watching it from a slight distance, always waiting for more certainty than life ever actually provides before you allow yourself to be in it. Real connection, the kind that stays, the kind that becomes something, is always built in moments of brave presence. Moments where someone chose to be fully there, fully real, fully willing to receive what was being offered and offer something in return. She has been offering something. In the language of her hands, in the stillness, in the reaches and the slowing down, and the quiet moments where her body said what her voice wasn't ready to say yet. She has been choosing you in the only ways currently available to her. The question, the only question that matters after everything we've talked about today, is whether you're going to finally, fully, bravely show up in the moment when it counts. Not perfectly, not with a guaranteed outcome, but present, aware, willing to be in the most real and human of all moments, the moment when two people without scripts or certainty reach toward each other. You've been waiting to be sure enough. Here's what I want to leave you with. The courage to act in the moment is the sureness. It doesn't come before the movement. It comes from it. If this gave you something real today, a new way of seeing, a framework that finally makes the moments make sense, subscribe. Every week we go this deep into the psychology of attraction, connection, and what it actually means to show up fully for the people and moments that matter. Honest conversations, real insights, nothing performed. I'll see you in the next one. Don't miss the moment this time. You know what it looks like now.